Hello, everyone. This is Alonzo. Want to know how to get your first cloud job? Then please register for our webinar. We'll teach you everything that you need to know and answer your questions along the way. Hope to see you there. Hello, everyone. This is Alonzo. Want to know how to get your first cloud job? Then please register for our webinar. We'll teach you everything that you need to know and answer your questions along the way. Hope to see you there.
My name is Richard Ferrer, and I can say I am cloud hired.
That yes, come and join and get cloud hired. I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
Hey, Go Cloud Architect family. I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired, guys.
So I'll just say I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired.
I'm cloud hired thanks to Go Cloud Architects.
It worked for me, and now I'm cloud hired. Because of Google Architect program,
I am cloud hired.
See! I am cloud hired. Thank you, Mike and the GlowCloud team.
All right. Hello, everybody.
What's going on, everyone?
Welcome to another career Q&A session with us at Go Cloud Careers. So my name is Chris Johnson. I've got Alonzo Coleman and Michael Gibbs here with me. So welcome. So in case you're new, we like to do these Q&As several times a week. This week, unfortunately, we will only be doing it once, with it being Thanksgiving week here in the United States. So we'll have our Q&A today. And what we like to do on these Q&As is we like to take any questions that you might have about the cloud architect job, the solution architect job, cloud architect engineer job. Our specialty is cloud architects and solution architects, but we'll take any questions you have related to cloud careers. We like to help answer questions about cloud computing career training, cloud architect career training. What is a cloud architect? We get that one a lot. Do I need to code to be a cloud architect? We get that one a lot. What certifications do I need to get as a cloud architect? Yeah. So hey, if you've got the questions, make sure you ask them. Our goal is to help you reach your dream career as quickly as possible with the least amount of divergence from the necessary path as necessary. So I'd like to make sure everybody is aware of a few things. So first things first. We did a thing, as people like to say. We got a Black Friday discount. All right, it's right there. The code is Black Friday. It's our largest discount that we ever do. It's 35% off. The link will be in the description. I think I got somebody putting the link in the chat box there. Make sure to use that discount. We don't do this discount often. So
No.
make sure you take advantage of it. And that's applicable on any of our content. But the one we really want to make sure you know about is our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. That's the one that you see all our videos about. You see all of our career check-ins about, our Cloud Hire videos. They're all about the Cloud Architect Career Development Program. But we also have our Tech Interview Mastery Program. We have our Tech Career Accelerator Program, which that's for people that might already be in a cloud architect role or a senior engineer role or something like that. And they're looking to make that next step, so to accelerate their career. So we've got that program as well. But use the coupon code, 35% off. Make sure you do it. Next thing, we've got our How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar that we do. We usually do it every Thursday, but this week, because Thanksgiving is on a Thursday here in the US, we will be doing it tomorrow, Tuesday. So make sure you register for that and join us tomorrow, Tuesday, for the How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar, or as I like to call it, How to Become the Ultimate Cloud Architect webinar.
Or Chris's version, How to Become a Cloud Architect, y'all.
Yes. So then next thing, I want to make sure everybody still remembers that we've got the new and updated AWS exam guide. Lots of work has gone into this. This is the third iteration. Had hundreds of people, hundreds of years worth of experience combined, put into this, and it's free for you. So make sure you take advantage of that and get your copy. That's free. Then of course, Mike, don't be answering any of those questions in the chat box.
No.
No.
You gotta ban your voice and your fingers? Come on,
so in case anybody's wondering, we're not letting Mike talk because Mike has a vocal cord injury. So I saw him start to answer a question in the chat box. No. No answering. So we got you. We're good. We'll take care of the questions. So last thing before we get to the questions is make sure you're following Mike and Go Cloud Careers on LinkedIn. All of our stuff comes out there first. We announce the Black Friday sale out there first. We put videos out there first. And then, so everything's out there first. So make sure you're following both of us, Mike and the company's page on LinkedIn. And then also make sure that you're hitting the subscribe and notification bell here on the on YouTube. I had put a challenge out. What was it, on Friday? Just randomly. I saw where we were, and I said, let's get to 40,000 by Black Friday. Well, we're already like 150 away from that. So let's get us to 40,000 subscriptions by Black Friday. I don't think there's going to be any difficulty with that one, but all your help is appreciated there. And also, I want to let everybody know I'm sorry that we got to do these things during the World Cup. I know half the world is watching the World Cup, so I forgive you, and I'm sure the entire team can forgive you if you've got another tab open or if you've got the TV on in the background. I understand, especially for those in the U.S. and in Wales right now. I know who I'm pulling for, but I'm sure we've got some people in the Go Cloud community that are pulling for Wales. That'll be okay. So, all right, let's get to these first questions. All right.
Hey, Chris, we want to interject about heading the clouds this evening.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, I'll let you do.
Well, I guess it's if I brought it up, the responsibility is on me, everyone. So normally we have Heading the Clouds on Tuesday evenings, but because of this week, because it is Thanksgiving, we're going to have it tonight with a special guest with us. You might have seen him in the bottom right-hand corner of our special guest circle. So we just want to make sure you all attend. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of good questions and just enjoy ourselves. So hope to see you there.
You might find out what some of our favorite Thanksgiving foods are also.
And that too. I got a list.
And some messages from members of the community that they sent in to us. So, all right. So first question. And I got a feeling that Mike's going to want to break our rules and take this one first.
Of course.
I'm ready, Alonzo. So Vinay asked, the recession is coming big time. And how do we get ready for it? How do we go about it? And how can a cloud architect course help us?
I'm going to cover this one. Now, Vinay, if you've been part of our channel, you noticed that we talked about this for the last 6 months. Now, here's the thing. I have never been laid off in a recession, and only one of the clients I've had over 20 years was laid off. He had more than $100,000 severance and had a $300,000 job within a week. So here's the thing, Vinay. There's there's a couple things to avoid laying off, and why our Cloud Architect course will help you will dramatically not only keep your job, get hired for new jobs, and probably get promoted. Vinay, the worst place you ever want to be in a recession is in the back office. Back office engineering, and if you notice, we stopped selling our cloud engineering program for that reason. I don't want to sell anything where we can't get our people hired. Now, who gets laid off, Vinay? It's typically the people with the worst social skills, the least likable of the people, the least hardworking, and those in back-end positions that are expensive, like an engineer, because we can get rid of an engineer that's $10,000 to $15,000 a month, swap them out for somebody that's $2,000 a month overseas, and it's not a problem. So the things that you do, which we teach, first we teach you the cloud architect role, which is a sales role, by the way. Isn't it really exciting? Which jobs still get hired in a recession? Anything that brings money into the company, because in a recession, we need more money. So cloud architects like me, I've closed billion-dollar deals, and nobody's getting rid of an architect that's generating money. So for one thing, move into a cloud architecture course. Now, who gets kept during a recession? It's going to be the ones that are the most emotionally intelligent with the best communication skills. And here's the reason why. There's a demoralizing effect of a layoff. And with the people with the best soft skills and emotional intelligence, which, by the way, I've had at least $100,000 in training on and 25 years experience coaching people on this and being an expert on this, they're the people that get hired and stay hired. They're also the people that get promoted during the recession when others are laid off. On top of that, we teach you a level of technical competency that's second to none. And that's why we've got companies that are reaching out to us every day. I'm still getting employers reach out to me and say, Mike, who can you give me that can communicate with an awesome attitude, that can design something real, that can present and sell? I need your students. I'm tired of people with 8,000 certifications that can't talk, can't walk, can't do anything other than tell me how many certifications they have. So our course will teach you how to interview. We'll teach you how to negotiate a higher salary. We teach you actually and train our people to be the ideal employees, to not only get promoted in their current job, but not to get laid off, but also to get hired with new ones. But now you might even see a 6-figure raise if you do our training with us, like many of our students do. So we can prepare you for the job, package you for the job, help you build the optimal brand for the job, and help you get hired, regardless of the economy. I've been hired during hiring freezes, and I've never been laid off, and only one of my clients was. And like I said, he had $100,000 plus severance and need a $300,000 job within a week. He's not working at Google, by the way.
It's not a bad company at all.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on that. I mean, like Mike said, we've been talking about this since May at the earliest, and everything that we talk about is geared towards helping people not only get hired but stay employed to the best possible. I mean, unfortunately, there's sometimes it happens. You know, hell, an entire company might close down. You never know. But everything that we talk about is putting you in the best position. And amazingly, the same things that will help you get hired, the same things that will help you stay employed during a recession. So it's all the same information. It's all the same things. You know, we've got we don't just focus on the tech at Go Cloud Careers. You know, we focus on the business and what the tech can do for the business. That's what we've got, including me and Alonzo and Mike. Okay, so we actually have 5 MBAs now. Now that I think about it, I think 5, maybe more. We've got more. We've got 5 MBAs, and we've got two business professors, 2 PhD business professors that help us with our programs. You know, it's all focused around helping the business, and that's the role of an architect, is to help the business. The architect is a revenue generating role, and so anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. But let's see. We'll get to our next question.
Thank you for your question, Vinay.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this one up, but I'm not going to talk about it too long. And I'll cover it. There's not any reason for anyone else. So Manu says, is it possible to move from 65% to 50% for low-income countries like Ghana? So we purposely price our programs with the developing countries in mind. Our pricing strategy is specifically built to cater to that market as much as possible. Our program is a program that is easily 10 times undervalued on cost, easily. So we are doing what we're able to do as far as the price goes at what other companies would consider a great sacrifice to the company's bottom line. So we're doing everything that we can as far as the price goes. The thing I want to make sure that everyone is aware of is that there is the payment plan option. There is a 3-month payment plan option. We understand that the other countries don't have the same strength of their currency as the US does, or Western Europe, or other developed countries in South America, and so on and so forth. But again, we purposely price our programs at the point that it is accessible to those markets. Now, with that being said, I'm not sure, Mike, would people in Ghana be able to access Cloud Heroes Africa, or is that specific to just Africa?
No, Cloud Heroes Africa, with 50 of us volunteering, is for anyone in sub-Saharan Africa. And Ghana definitely qualifies as sub-Saharan Africa. There's lots of wonderful people there.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was just, I couldn't remember what the specifics of it were. So I'm going to put...
And Cloud Heroes Africa is more the baseline technical training, where we focus on the whole career side of it. But they're great people there. Wonderful people, and love every last person at Cloud Heroes Africa. And I hired 2 people from that group in Cameroon that we helped co-teach.
Right. I couldn't remember if it was country specific or region specific. So I'm going to put the link for Cloud Heroes Africa in the chat box, because we understand that we might not be able to meet everyone's needs as far as the price goes. So there's a link to Cloud Heroes Africa. And we actually just this past weekend, we had a team of Evdokia, Precious, and like 4 other people did a class with Cloud Heroes Africa this past weekend. A lot of our team members volunteered there. So just wanted to address that. All right. So next question. Oh, and they say they're also multitasking watching the World Cup.
Whoa!
I knew that it was going to be the case. I knew people were going to be watching the World Cup.
Yeah, they're in the tab next door.
Yeah. So Juan says, due to the social nature of the cloud architect jobs, what are the differences between being remote and on site? Like with stuff like talking with the client, presenting your designs, etc. Thanks, and I think that's going to say advance.
Yeah.
So
Juan, and I've been remote now for 25 years as an architect. It's the same job. When you're remote, you will be on Zoom meetings 4 hours a day, and you will be flying to your clients. When you work out of an office, say a New York City office, you're going to be on Zoom 4 hours a day, and you're going to be flying to your clients. The only difference is if you're in a big city like New York, you might not have to travel as much because your clients might be in New York City. But these are global roles. And it doesn't matter where you're at. I lived in New Jersey as an architect, and one day I was in San Francisco, the next day I was in England, the day after that I was in Dubai, the day after that I was in Panama, and a week later I was in Australia. These are global roles, and no matter what, no matter where you work, it's going to be designing, presenting, and selling a solution to the customers. That's what we do. We're not hands-on people. So no matter where you're at, it's the same job.
Yep. So let's see. This one is specifically from Mike. Sorry, I'm trying to keep Mike from talking, but Mike, what is your opinion on the Aviatrix multi-cloud certification?
Min-win, if you want to be an engineer, it's a great certification for the cloud engineers or the cloud network engineers. But for architects, the job of designing, presenting, and selling is not taught in any part of a certification. So it's not super relevant for our cloud architects. But for a cloud engineer or a cloud network engineer, it is absolutely wonderful. And for the architects, you must know the Aviatrix solution as well as other software-defined networking, SASE solutions, private line solution, VPN solutions, and any other multitude of connectivity options.
All right. I feel like window dressing today. Let's see. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this is from Ned. Hi, Mike. I have a strong background working with databases and look forward to becoming a big data architect. What certifications do you recommend? So I'm going to preface this by saying big data architect isn't necessarily a cloud architect.
No.
So if we can get a little bit more clarity there about your goals, do you want to work on the cloud? If you want to work on the cloud, then that will help us answer our question. If you don't want to work in the cloud as a big data architect, that will help us answer our question. But correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, we need that piece of information.
I think it'll help, but there's big data in the data center and there's big data in the cloud, and they're not that much different.
Okay.
So, Ned, you're asking about certifications. Big data has nothing to do with certification. Certification is the name of a service and how to configure that service. Big data is about data ingestion, data manipulation and data finessing, data storage, and data analysis and data visualization. That's not covered in certifications. Data scientists don't go get a certification and prepare them for a job. They learn advanced statistics. They learn machine learning engines. They learn things like PyTorch, TensorFlow, and all the other options they have. How to do things on the CPU, how to do things on the GPU, how to write a Python script, how to write a Python Spark script. So, Ned, tell us more about the actual role you're looking for. But when it comes to professional jobs, certifications aren't going to get you there. When it comes to get a help desk job or working at the Best Buy Geek Squad, or an admin job where you're the person behind the computer that just types stuff in the keyboard like a data analyst, yeah, certifications are going to help you. But a big data architect, this is a business person that also knows tech. So please tell us a little more about your goals and we'll provide you better information.
All right, let's see here. So Sean says, is there a difference between a cloud security architect and a cloud solution architect? If so, can a company make them one of the same? Which one is paid more?
All right, simple question. Cloud security architect focuses on security. Cloud architect focuses on everything. You can't be focused on two things at the same time. Which one is paid more, Sean? It's actually the least technical of the bunch. So, a cloud architect may earn 10% less on average than a cloud security architect. But if the cloud architect focuses on more business skills and more executive communication and more CXO relevancy, then they're going to earn far more than the security architect. So it's really dependent upon what kind of architect you want to be. At the bottom of the salary range, we've got a technical architect. Next would be the cloud architect or solution architect. On top of that, we might have a specialty architect. Want to earn double the specialty architect? Become an enterprise architect like me. Develop your business acumen, your leadership skills, your sales skills, your executive presence, and CXO relevancy. And you may earn a few $100,000 more than the cloud security architect. So what do you want to be, Sean? If your goal is money, focus on business, not tech. Remember, architects are there to perform digital transformation. How do you make your customer more money? And you don't make them more money with firewalls. You make them more money with the digital transformation approach. What new tech can allow the company to lay off 30% of its workers? By the way, that's reality. What new tech can enable an organization to have a more efficient supply chain? What new tech can enable people to collaborate and communicate better? What new tech can be used to optimize healthcare if you have expertise in healthcare? That's the secret to earning more. Stop worrying about tech and start worrying about the transformation. Even Steve Jobs says, we don't talk about the tech at Apple, we talk about what it can do for you. So whatever the key to really earn money, it's become a business expert. And that's why we have more business acumen training and more leadership training. I have $250 million of education in this field. And I know most people can't afford the good $40,000 or $50,000 of training necessary to be a great architect. So that's why we created our program and offered pretty much at our cost to help you all get cloud hired. So it's not about the tech, it's about the transformation. That's the secret to your success.
All right, so I'll let Alonzo start off with the next question. So Joshua asked, what is the average amount of time in months do your students stay in the program before they get an employment offer?
As long as they need to be. So minimum time frame is about 6 months, 6 to 8 months for you to successfully complete the program. So after that, we keep everyone readily available with open resources to them upwards to a month, maybe more. There could be an additional extension of those resources being offered during these economic times. So just ensuring that don't rush to get through the program, but just understand that to be fully competent, capable, CXO relevant, business oriented, be able to present your presentation skills and the whole spectrum of what we offer here, give yourself that time frame.
And I want to correct. Alonzo said we give you an extra month. We get you to allow up to a full year. And if the economy is really bad, we may allow people to stay a little longer because we want everybody.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, you're right.
And the point is that let's get back. Let's get to the center of the question. So Josh is asking about the average. We can't, but the average is not you.
Yeah,
everyone is different. Everyone has different circumstances. Everyone learns differently. Everyone has different obligations that they have to consider. One person might be able to commit 1 hour a week. One person might be able to commit 10 hours a week. So that's an average, but you shouldn't use that as a metric to gauge yourself.
Right.
Because that average encompasses everything. We've had people that have gotten a job after 3 weeks. That's definitely not near the average.
Right. I guess ask yourself, what can you commit on a daily basis, Joshua? What is the personal expectations and goals that you can set for yourself? What are those time frames, those milestones that you can give and say, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z over this certain amount of time to be competent and ready to go. And that could possibly be a framework for you to start from A to Z for you to complete the program. So Only you would know, Joshua, what your availability is, but I would start there.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we don't need to have an average. I'm just saying like knowing the average and then knowing what you're able to commit. Those are the two pieces to that puzzle. He only asked about one piece. I wanted to make sure we addressed the other piece. All right, so we got Robert Welch here.
Hey, Bob.
I like that money bag, cloud security.
Bob, we miss you. We love you. Bob is one of our amazing graduates that is a wonderful cloud security architect role. He's fantastic. It was such a privilege to work with him.
All right. So John says, hello, Mike. You are simply the best. Is there anywhere one could intern as a cloud architect without having experience in tech?
Okay, so let's say you wanted to design a 5-star hotel, John, or an airport. Would you have somebody that doesn't have the competency to do it for you, or would you expect the hotel to fall down? So, John, the reason I created our program is no one in their right mind will ever give someone a design role, because if the systems aren't designed right, it'll crash. The company can go bankrupt. So, no, that's why we created our program, and that's why we even created the cheaper version of our program, the basic program for people that couldn't afford to do our main program in the developing world, so they could still get an internship under the belt. Every one of our students gets an internship, but it's expensive to run an internship because you still got to coach and train your people. But unfortunately, employers just don't hire interns. Now, in a strong economy, the big cloud providers will select, say, 10 people per year and put them in an internship. And if they do well on the internship, then they'll give them an associate position. But honestly, our students don't get associate positions. They go straight up into better positions. So I wish there was, John. But unfortunately, since the architect designs presents and sells, and most architects work on multi-million-dollar solutions, nobody's going to allow you to sell something unless they know you're good at it or design it. I wish it wasn't true.
All right. So Clarence asks, how many projects in the virtual course? So I want to preface this with we have projects and we have labs in our course, but I don't think we should let those be the focus of the okay, I'm going to let you answer, Mike. Apparently I have somebody tearing a building down behind me. I don't know what's happening.
Well, the reality is every class is a project. Every class we design an architecture, or every 2 classes we design an architecture. So for the average person, there'll be about 40 architectures they work on as a group. Then there'll be 5 really capstone architectures they'll do. And if you're talking tech projects, and remember, architects aren't techies, but yeah, we'll do about 25 projects on AWS, 25 on Azure. But Clarence, you're going to do real projects that build competency, not the silly stuff that's in a certification. You'll design and build your own cloud from scratch. You'll be working with your own Active Directory servers. You're going to build it the hard way in the data center. And then you're going to know how to migrate it, because you can study all you want, but if you haven't seen the original, there's no way you can migrate it. So yeah, at least 40 projects, but at least 40 architectures, but that's not it. You're going to be giving speech projects, presentation projects. So if you add it up, there'll be a few hundred.
And then also, Clarence, none of the classes are going to be the same. They're going to be standalone. So it's not like traditional school where you feel like if you miss one, you're going to be playing catch up for the duration. That's not the case. You're always going to have unique circumstances and scenarios for the classes where you're going to continue to learn. And also, if you do miss it, it will be a recording later on, so you can go back, review, and apply what you've learned there for the next live class.
All right. Sorry about that. I have no idea what was going on outside. I don't know if y'all heard any of that.
But... No, we didn't hear anything at all.
Well, that's good to know. I couldn't concentrate. It
was just a bathroom break. I think he was trying to sneak to watch the cup. That's what it was.
All right. So Sean says, most cloud architects sell a cloud system. What do they do like in a hospital and banks?
Same thing, Sean. So you work for a bank, right? Bank has business problems. Bank has business challenges. Bank has business goals. So when you work for the bank as a post-sales architect, you ask the executives, what are your goals? What are your business points? What are your pain points? Then you go ask the department heads, and then you go ask the ground workers. And then from there, you design a solution with your team. You present the solution back to the people with the money, which is the CIO and CEO, and sell it back to them. And if they agree to it, then you hire a team of people to build it, just like you would in a service provider. So why are companies hiring their own? Well, if you contract the cloud provider, they'll put you in a proprietary system that'll lock you into that one cloud forever. So let's say you were raising chickens. Would you have the foxes guard your chickens? Of course you wouldn't. So organizations hire their own architects to make sure the cloud providers don't sell them stuff they don't need or want, or that would keep them from pure digital transformation, like the long term. Like, here's the thing. Don't use DynamoDB. Don't use Amazon Aurora. Because if you do, then you're precluded from multi-cloud, and customers want multi-cloud. So it's about knowing how to design the open standards that enable real digital transformation. But I recommend against working in hospitals because they pay 50% less than any other organization if salary is your goal, unless you're someone like me.
And this one's for me.
Go!
I don't know who, but
right. That's the
scored a goal. Oh, it's what happens when you compete against the largest sporting event in the world.
Yeah.
All right. So next question is from T-Dog. T says, is it easier to get your first cloud job remotely as a developer or solutions architect? I live in a rural area where there's not many IT positions available local and need to break into the industry. Oh.
It depends. Well, a couple of things going on. T-Dog, I don't know where you live.
Right.
If you want a job as a software developer and you're in the US, I don't think you're going to get one for the next year or two. They're going to be in India, Africa, Pakistan, and places which have an incredible number of highly educated people that cost less. So I will tell you, it's no different, more difficult for me to get someone a solutions architect job than it is anything else. In fact, I find it harder to get people a cloud engineer job than a cloud architect job. We're pretty good at getting people cloud architect jobs. How many people have you seen, Alonzo? Mental health techs like Jeannie, EMTs like Delroy, high school dropout like Daniel Bosu, who was selling shoes at Nordstrom, Yvonne Tamba, who works for AWS, that was a waiter, Coyote, who was a college student, those kind of things. How many of them have you seen?
I've lost count, to be honest. And that's the goodness, honest truth on that. When we have a wide spectrum of folks from different walks of life, different industries, different types of experience, and they were all transitioned successfully into awesome cloud career positions.
Yep. So I've got a lag on my end. So if I repeat what you guys said, just let me know. These are two completely different roles.
Right.
So with that, we don't have enough information to be able to accurately give feedback there.
And also, just always in certain economical situations like we are today, I think it would probably be a good thing to be open-minded to relocation. If there's a possible position that would yield you the necessary salary that you're looking for, then there's a lot of factors that you have to consider.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to be an architect, break in as an architect.
Yeah.
So you asked an either or, but I don't know what the goal is.
Right.
So
that is
if your goal is to work as an architect, you can work as an architect remotely.
Absolutely.
So I don't think there's any value to trying to become a developer, which arguably will take much longer.
Much longer.
And then you'd have to work as a developer for however long you think is relevant to work as a developer to try and show that you could be an architect, which are two completely unrelated roles. So
right.
If your goal is to be an architect, preparing to become a developer and then working as a developer would have no value to showing your ability to be an architect. So,
and honestly,
keep that in mind.
Yeah, and also thinking, you think about, and you can't think from a domestic industry position. You got to think globally about how saturated the developer market is.
Yeah,
and you got to focus on, and I know this probably seems harsh, but in the real world, it's less about your dreams and more about the company bottom line, about how they can stay relevant, agile, and competitive with the least amount of money involved. And at the end of the day, a salary is an expense. So consider that as well.
Right.
Consider in a recession, an architect like me brings in money.
Yeah.
They need me. In a recession like this, the developers are going to go. They're the first to go. Anybody that doesn't talk to people is going to be let go. Because if they don't talk to people, why do I need to hire somebody in the US? Why can't I hire them somewhere else where the cost is 1/5?
And we don't know where this person lives. So we don't have enough information to be able to answer this question adequately. We're talking in hyperbole at this point. So let's go to the next question. But if you want to share some more information about what your ultimate goal is, where you're located, what your competency level is in as far as cloud is concerned, that might help us be able to give you a more accurate answer. So let's go to the next question. We kind of touched on this one earlier, but different person, different question. Hi team, how are you? A friend of mine is interested in becoming a cloud big data architect. He doesn't have any experience in this field yet. Does your program teach that field from scratch? No. No. The cloud part, yes.
Yeah.
The other, no. There's so much required technical knowledge specific to data that we don't provide. That would it would take, I would say, years for someone to have the competency to do that role. Now, if there's someone that's already a data architect or already a data engineer, already has that requisite knowledge and wants to make that transition to cloud, then yes, we can make that, and we've done that. But we don't have the expertise or the curriculum or the knowledge to fill that second part of the two parts required to be a cloud data architect or cloud big data architect. Yeah, so we're very clear about if we don't have the expertise, I want to make sure we're yeah.
You want to explain why so many people come to us as data scientists and big data architects to learn how to become cloud architects?
The same reason so many people. Never mind. I was going to say the same reason that there's hard to be a developer or a software engineer right now. Just because it's too hard to get a job in those roles. And if you do get a job, at least in Western or not Western, but in developed nations like the United States and others, the pay for those roles is not there for the amount of time and effort and energy that you put into it. Other countries possibly, I'm not sure, but at least here, comparatively speaking, the pay for a cloud architect versus a data architect or a data engineer, a cloud engineer versus a data engineer, there's the delta is so huge.
And you don't have to be on call.
Yeah, but it's just such a saturated market. But I mean, me personally, the future is in data and cloud, but it's figuring out how to use. It's the figuring out of the data. The data is just such a behemoth of an industry, and it's so saturated. There's people all over the place, but it's just the pay isn't there at the bottom. The pay and the ability to get the job is the limiting factor, and that comes from personal experience of people that I deal with firsthand. So, but yeah, so back to the question: we can help with the cloud part. If they are completely new from scratch, we cannot help with the data part.
Okay.
It's not us.
It's
Not
not
us.
our forte.
Navita's got a couple of questions back to back. So Navita says, which AWS field has less contact with the customer? And before I get your program, I need to know which AWS program fit is for me. So I'm going to take this and then I'm going to let Alonzo.
Okay.
First thing, right now.
And for the next few years, a year or two.
For the foreseeable future, the next few years. If you're depending on where you live, if you're in a developing nation, different story. But if you're not, the customer facing, customer speaking roles are where you need to be. Those will be the more likely open positions, and hiring positions will be customer speaking, customer facing. Going back to the revenue generation, you have to speak to people to generate revenue.
Right.
Companies need to generate revenue to then be able to hire people to spend money on. So they won't hire the people that cost them money until they've got the people that can bring in the money. Next thing, I'm kind of confused about the AWS program. I don't think we need to, and Alonzo, I'll let you handle it, but I think we're focusing we need to back up from the AWS. Yeah. So, because I asked what AWS field has less contact and what AWS program is for me.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I'll take this, Navita. I guess I'm wondering what is there something that you're trying to share that you are avoidant to speaking with people? If so, why? Or are you showcasing that is your strong suit? When it comes to which AWS program is fit for me, we focus on the cloud. We don't focus on any specific cloud service provider. We teach the underlying agnostic cloud, and that's our focus. So I'd like to share with everyone is that if you're so focused on a specific cloud service provider and you don't understand the cloud, you're not understanding the whole scheme of things. You're not understanding any that's required to become a successful cloud architect. And in today's field, in today's times, a lot of industries, they don't focus on just one cloud. They're a multi-cloud utilizer. So the reason why is because you wouldn't want to go in and out of a place that only has one exit and the entrance at the same time, especially during the burning building. The same thing applies here. What if something happens to AWS? They start charging you more. They don't like how you're politically aligned, or the services are just not aligning with your overall goals for the business. You're pigeonholed into that position. You have to pay more, and then ultimately, if you're looking for a position that is outside the needs of what AWS is offering, you just pigeonhole yourself out of a job opportunity. So ultimately, it's not about AWS. It's about understanding the cloud. AWS is a flavor of ice cream. Google Cloud Platform, flavor of ice cream. Azure, Microsoft Azure, flavor of ice cream. We don't worry about the flavors. We talk about the ice cream itself. We teach you what ice cream is, if you can understand that analogy. Or it's about not having to be certified in specific cars like GM, Ford, or anyone else. We teach you how to drive. So that underlying understanding of what the agnostic cloud is encompasses everything about all these cloud service providers. So don't focus on AWS or anyone else. Focus on the cloud itself.
And to bring,
I was going to say one last piece. AWS employs less than 5% of all the cloud people. If your focus is on AWS, first, they're on a hiring freeze. Secondly, plan on being unemployed for a long period of time. That's why we get all these AWS certified solution architect professionals who learn the name of the service and how to configure it. They go on an interview and the interviewer is like, sorry, no. Because you need to understand what is the technology that you're moving? What is the technology, what you're working with? How does that technology impact the business? So realistically, you've got a couple options now. You can be a cloud architect who designs, presents, and sells it. You could be a cloud engineer who configures it. We're not doing cloud engineering training now. We canceled it for at least a year. because I don't want to train anybody for a position they're not going to get hired for.
To be clear, for new enrollments.
For new enrollments, we have special things we're doing for our current students to make sure they're hireable, but we're not taking anybody new into any engineering programs because we only take people in careers which we want. But you can't just learn one vendor. I mean, if you learn one vendor, nobody's going to hire you. Imagine driving a car and you only, like Alonzo said, and you only learned a Toyota. Oh wait, you got a rental car and it's a Hyundai. How do you deal with it? You can't. So no, you got to learn the cloud. So the key is to find out what works for you. But I strongly don't recommend any position where you don't talk to people. And if you want to do that, I recommend working in a medical lab where all you do is deal with, droplets all day long, because any job that pays over $50,000 a year demands you speak to people. And if you want any job that pays over $100,000 a year, you better speak to people a lot. And if you want a job that pays between $200,000 and $500,000, which you can do as an architect, you better get used to talking to people because it's the primary element of the job.
Yeah, and to bring this home, Mike and I were speaking with the CEO of a company just before this that he it was almost like he thought he was giving away a secret when he was like he said, we work on Azure but we're cloud agnostic, and I'm like, you're what we say that all the time here, cloud agnostic. And so most companies that are actually employing people, like Mike said, AWS only employs 5%, and that's on a good day, of the architects out there. And most of the companies out there actually want to be on more than one cloud. I think it's like 93%. If they're not on it, their strategy is to be on multi-cloud within the near future. So I can't remember the specific number. I just remember it's above 90%. So back to the, someone asks us all the time about what's the difference between a solution architect and a cloud architect. And at the end of the day, the simple answer is a cloud architect can be a solution architect, but a solution architect can't be a cloud architect. You're by focusing on just the single solution or the single provider, you limit yourself to your opportunities. So,
and we periodically speak to CEOs, Chris and I, CIOs, CTOs. We had Alvin recently, and every one of us says, do not give me someone that can't talk to people. I don't want anybody that's got paper certs. I want someone that's got a personality, can work at a team that's likable.
Yep. All right. So I don't know if we've got any insight on this one. Anthony says Deloitte is hiring. See, people are hiring. And it makes sense that Deloitte is hiring. I've heard great things about the company, but I've also heard that they work employees to the bone. Do we know what it's like working at Deloitte versus
I can do this.
It's a consulting company, so.
Yeah. I have friends who worked in Deloitte, and because it is not a public company, it's a private company, so they work their employees however they compensate them very, very well. So, and I believe this is from the management consulting perspective. It's highly competitive, highly performance driven, which is why people are often work considerably. But also, it's about if you want to get a lot of money, then it's all based on your performance and your ability to be competitive and to work hard, to be innovative, so that you can perform with your peers. Because I'll tell you, at the end of certain timelines, you're going to be judged in a scatter plot. And I've seen this personally myself on where your performance lies. And I'm telling you, based on that, in that quadrant, you don't want to be in that space that's not performing, because they will let you go. This is something that I've seen. This is something that I've been privy to as well. So be ready to be competitive with Deloitte, Accenture, KPMG, E&Y, Capgemini, and even some of the larger ones, Boston Consulting Group. Very competitive. But when you have the business acumen and the which is a big thing to it, along with the tech competency, then you should be okay. But just forewarning.
Yeah, and Anthony, we have to be different about architects versus engineers. Engineers are work to the bone. Architects, working for them is go to a meeting, take your client out on the corporate American Express. There's a huge difference. I got out of engineering because engineers basically, they just work, and work some more. Being an architect, I found it light, and I have worked for consulting companies, but they will pay you very well for the amount of work they do. And in fact, no matter where you went, employers have demands. In fact, any job that pays $200,000 a year, like an architect role, they expect you to work. They're not employing you for that, to just sit around. So you're going to work in any of these jobs.
All right. So the next question is from Sean. Once we're done with your course, do you recommend a cert or is it not needed? So I recommend that your certification be a job offer. So we don't focus on certifications. We only encourage certifications as a way to get an interview, in an attempt to show to potential employers that you have competency. See, the thing to keep in mind is that you're competing against thousands and thousands of other pieces of paper when you're submitting your resume. Even when you go through a recruiter, you're competing against other pieces of paper at the end of the day. So we don't focus on certifications except in an attempt to help you get an interview and to prove competency to the employer. And at that point, we recommend, one certification from one of the major cloud providers, Azure or AWS. And then from there, we give specific recommendations within our program to our students. But what we focus on is the competency and the knowledge to be able to communicate, and the ability to communicate that competency and that knowledge. So it's not so much certification focus. Like I said, we view your course certification as your job offer, or recruiters reaching out to you constantly. So I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
I'm going to add to that. Now, we teach you how to become an architect. We still recommend a cloud certification. Now, we've got people like, probably if he's still here, Robert Welch got an incredible job with a cloud practitioner. Delroy Batt had 3 offers and he took one of them, and he has 0 cloud certifications. But we do teach the Azure Solutions Architect Expert, as well as the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional. And we do recommend 1 professional certification during the program. Again, it'll never get you hired. There's nothing in a certification that'll get you hired, but it will help you get an interview. So we still like you to do that while you're in the program. Plus, the certifications are easy when you have the knowledge that we teach you. They're only hard if you just try to read a book and it's like, what's this stupid thing? What's this stupid thing? And if you'd only hear the names of these services, which, they paid people in the marketing department millions of dollars to make up stupid names. For example, they could just say virtual machine. They don't need to call it Elastic Compute Cloud. And then you're going to know exactly what it is, but they hide it. So the key is get the competency, and then these exams are nothing.
Yep. So Sean's got a follow-up. I'm going to go out of order a little bit. Says, I've got decades of experience in business-to-business sales. I also have decades as a business owner. Will this be a good fit for me because of my age? Regardless of the age, everything else that you said before that is a yes. Yeah. Age does not matter. Robert Welch, if you're still in the chat box, please come in here and say age doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If Robert Welch is not in there, then you can go check out his YouTube video with us. Robert Welch is a elder statesman, I guess you would call him.
Yeah, Robert's 61. At the same day he got hired, Sig, who was 63, got hired.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's much easier for me to get someone hired that's 40 to 60 than it is 18 to 20. But I still got a 21-year-old, this first solution architect out this year. But 40 years old, 50 years old, it's much easier.
Yep.
60
So yeah,
no big deal.
everything that you just explained is a attribute to the positive.
And Robert's still here. You can tell people that age doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. So Manu says, I'm totally new to the cloud. After the course, would I be fit for an architect job role straight after the program? That's the whole reason we designed the program.
You'd be hired while you're in the program.
Well, that's when we view completion, is that you're hired.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole goal.
And we like to say that don't put so much, and this is for everyone, don't put so much relevancy in the value of a certification, because once you go to the bank, they're going to look at your job offer versus the certification, and you better believe they'll be looking at that job offer more than the certification.
Yeah, they'll ask you to take the certification thing out of their face because they don't want that has no value to them.
None.
So, that job offer can help you finance a house. That certification can't.
When they see all those zeros, they'll listen.
So, so Ahmed says, why do many hiring managers and recruiter mix between DevOps and solution architect role? My assumption is maybe employers want to save money and want to hire one-man shows for many roles. So they confuse DevOps and
Recruiter.
kitchen employee
Everything.
and engineers and architects and roofers and Olympic athletes and all of that. The recruiters don't, but the recruiters, the good recruiters don't. The other recruiters just take what HR gives them.
And you got to have Kubernetes experience from the year 1654. You have to have Python experience from the dark ages.
Right.
Plus, you got to know how to bootstrap and do templates from the Ice Age, and that's all the combined experience. And of course,
and you must have 10 years of sales experience for an entry level role.
Exactly.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Good recruiters, worth their weight. Don't confuse the two. Now, there's a small percentage of companies who will try to be cheap and try to do all these into one role. They're going to get what they get, and they're not going to have any value. And the person's probably going to last 6 months and then quit,
right?
And move and be fired because they didn't meet expectations, that are unrealistic. But so there are some companies that do try to do all that, and they try, but they're not the ones that you want to work for. And when you see it, just run far away from it.
Run.
Excuse me. When you see it and they stick to it, run from it. You're going to see it at every company. Yeah. just when you're looking at the job descriptions, you'll see it everywhere. But if they stick to it, run.
And let's be fair, Ahmed. The employers know the difference. The hiring managers know the difference. In fact, I get on the phone with hiring managers every day, and they say, please don't send me a cloud engineer. I don't want a DevOps engineer. I want an architect that can design, present, and sell. But the recruiters and the HR people that write these job descriptions don't know. And that's why our students get recruited. Robert Welch was there. He had upwards of 20 people reach out to him every single day to try and interview him. And he can pop that in the chat box if he's still here. Hiring managers know what they need, and they have no confusion whatsoever.
Right.
And there are 5% of the people that do want you to do two jobs. But here's the problem. If you tried to fly an airplane and hand out the drinks at the same time, the plane's going to crash. And if you try to design a system and then go implement the system, you're going to miss the design and the digital transformation. You'll be fired immediately. And I've seen that happen time and time again.
All right, so let's see. Manu says, solution architect and security architect, which of these roles is easier to land without much demand as in experience in projects? So without much demand of experience in projects, I gather, because Manu is also from scratch in a previous question. So that's how I'm interpreting this.
Neither's easier. It's about how good you are at the job, how likable you are, how well you communicate. Can the employer trust you? Your energy, enthusiasm, and passion. Your communication skills, you're being a team player, and are you willing to go above and beyond? That's the key that gets you hired. Has nothing to do with any of this.
All right. Just to give everybody a heads up, we had planned to go for 60 minutes today, but we're going to wrap up with all the remaining questions that are still in here. So, let's talk about this for a second. Bara asked, does your cloud architecture program include all three cloud providers? Okay, so we need to look at this from the way that Alonzo spoke about it earlier. AWS, Toyota, Azure, GMC, Google is a Saab, I don't know, or a Mercedes. And so you don't learn how to drive a Toyota, a a GM, or a Mercedes. You learn how to drive. That's what we do. We train the cloud, and then after learning the cloud, the network, and the data center in its agnostic form, then you can add all these tech names like Mercedes and Toyota and AWS and Azure on top of it. You can learn what Azure calls a virtual machine. I think it's actually a virtual machine.
Yeah, they're the only ones that do.
So versus AWS, who calls it an EC2 instance. But the way that we train is we train the basics, the fundamentals, the cloud at its base before anybody puts any lipstick on it or puts any flavors into it or puts any wrapping paper around it. We teach the cloud and the network and the data center. So I guess you could say, yeah, it does include all three, because you can't do the three if you don't know the one.
But the point is, all three is not enough.
No,
because it's not just three that's out there. We teach OpenStack. You'll be working as a cloud architect. You're going to work with OpenStack. You're going to work with Nutanix. You'll work with Google. You'll work with DigitalOcean. We're on DigitalOcean. We run an OpenStack cloud. You'll be running Nutanix clouds, and you have to understand what the tech is. So, Barra, if you wanted to go get a brick, you could go to any store in the world, right? It's just a brick. And all of these clouds are identical. They're just a data center and a network that's virtualized. So think of the cloud as a hotel. Think of your VPC or VNet, depending on which cloud it is, your hotel room. If you don't know what a hotel is and you don't know what a hotel room is, you can't do the job, and that's why certifications don't work. We teach it all. And all of our students build on and are designed on all clouds. And they even build their own cloud so they can actually tell people what the cloud is, because they design one from scratch in our program.
Yeah. The gentleman surmised it fully. You know, all I can do is just throw in another analogy to it, but it arrives the same.
Yeah. So Igor asked how to start with cloud security and security in general.
Well, Igor, tell us what kind of security you mean. Yeah. Offensive security, defensive security, architecture, design security, engineering security, network security, application security. Give us a little insight into what you mean by security, and we can give you some guidance.
All right. So so just to reiterate, Sean, age does not matter. Age is an asset. If we had a binary choice, asset or deficit, it's an asset.
Anything else, it'll be a benefit from all your prior experience.
Exactly. So Navita asked about the program bundle. The Cloud Architect Career Development has 2 courses. Yep. I'll explain that in a second. What does that mean? I'll explain. How long does the program? How many online classes in a day? All right. So the nuts and bolts of our Cloud Architect Career Development program. When you're looking at it on our portal, there are 2 courses. One is the program, and one is a course of all of our class recordings, where we store all of our class recordings. It's in its own course. So it's 2 courses when you're looking at the bundle. The live classes that we have are 3 times a week, and they are currently Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm not going to get into the changes and the conversions and all that stuff, because everybody is in a different time zone and everybody observes daylight savings times a different way, so it gets all wacky throughout the year. So those are the times of our courses. The live classes last about 2 hours. Sometimes they go a little longer, sometimes a little shorter, but usually 2 hours. And the length of the program is completely dependent on the individual. And we say that because everybody has a different starting point. Some people come to us with years of experience as a network engineer. Their experience is going to be completely in the program is going to be completely different than somebody that comes to us with 15 years of hospitality experience working at in restaurants and hotels. They're going to have completely different experiences because they have different base levels. Everyone also has different obligations in addition to the program. Some people may be working full-time. Some people might be working full-time plus. Some people might be taking care of family members. They might be a single stay-at-home parent that have to take care of kids and is working from home as well and trying to do the program. Or there's people that don't have any obligations and they're able to commit, 95 hours a week and sleep the rest of the time. So everyone's different. For someone that's completely new from scratch, average is like 6 to 8 months. But again, everyone's different on how long it takes them to get through the program. It wouldn't be fair for us to say, all right, you got 16 weeks. Here's how much it costs. End of the story. No consideration for anything else. It wouldn't be fair for us. So I hope that answers your question. It's a self-paced program with our guidance and direction and our outline. Bob says he still has 10 plus recruiters a day reaching out.
Mind you, he only had one cert, a cloud practitioner.
Right.
But he has our Go Cloud Careers brand. And he also is a rock star.
Minot says, honestly, Mike makes everything easy and simple from the way he answers everything. Yep, he sure does. Not yet in the class yet, but sold from your presentation and answering skills.
Yeah, I'll definitely say from prior experience, once I was on my cloud journey, it was so much like, if anyone knows about AWS and their white papers, it reads like stereo instructions, like IKEA, like you're trying to build IKEA in the dark. It was such a horrible experience because they came from a perspective that you were already a distinguished engineer with tons of experience. And so I wandered around in the cloud wilderness, if you will, for quite a long time. And then I myself found Mike's YouTube and what I had learned. It took me a year to learn. He demystified, put together in simple, practical terms about, and it's based on 3 questions. What is the tech? What does it do? And when would you use it? And an epiphany just went off in my head. I'm like, oh, so that's what this elastic A through Z stuff in AWS is. And so I would highly recommend anyone who is hesitant about getting into the cloud, and I'm saying this objectively and humbly, that you're going to learn so much so fast. You're going to be challenged, but yet you're still going to really get the concepts and fundamentals of what the cloud is, what it does, and when you would use it right here with a wonderful community.
Yep. All right. So Aisha says, is it possible to get an interview with just an associate certificate? It's possible to get an interview without any certificate, but not without the knowledge. Not without the competency, not without the branding, and not without any of it. You might get the interview and then you might completely blow it if you don't actually know what's discussed. So that's why we do not recommend certificates other than any reason except to get an interview. It doesn't do anything other than possibly help you get an interview. Again, Bob Watts in the chat box here only had a practitioner certificate. Jeffrey West had no certificates. Richard had no certificates. Coyote had no certificates. There's plenty of people that didn't have certificates.
That has no certificates.
They had the brand and they had the competency and they were able to communicate that both in person and online in their forums such as LinkedIn and wherever else they might be trying to promote their brand. So,
but the opposite is also true. You can have every certificate in the world and you won't get a cloud architect job without understanding the network, the data center, the business skills, sales skills, executive presence, emotional intelligence, and all those other things.
Yeah. So T-Dog asked, what's the difference between the normal program and the accelerator program? So the accelerator program is only a soft skills and emotional intelligence training.
And leadership.
It has nothing to do with any roles. cloud architect, cloud engineer, cloud anything. It has nothing to do with any roles. Doesn't cover anything about cloud, network, data center, architecture, nothing. It's only for people that are already in a cloud architect role, cloud engineer role, senior engineer role, maybe even a DevOps role, and they want to make that change to a higher. They want to become a senior DevOps, or they want to become a manager or a director.
Yes.
Or they want to become a senior cloud architect, or they want to become an enterprise architect, or they want to become a lead. That's what the accelerator program is for. That is to take you to the next step in your professional career. The cloud architect career development program is to help you gain the requisite competency and knowledge to become a cloud architect. Oh, let's see. Sean asked what Robert Welch's YouTube is, but I don't think Robert Welch has a YouTube, but he does have a LinkedIn.
And that's what you want.
Yep. So, Bob, if you're out there, put your LinkedIn in the chat box.
How about we get a hashtag Bob Welch?
Yeah, we love working with Bob. He's an incredible cloud security architect.
Yeah. So we actually don't have any more questions, and actually, Sean may be asking for the link to Bob's video. Let me go find that. All right. So we so we don't have any more questions. Now we will be here this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We will have our Head in the Clouds Thanksgiving episode. So make sure to join us for that, where we'll talk about cloud careers, Thanksgiving food, Thanksgiving dishes, some of our favorites. And let me find, I think I got this. This is...
You can ask the last question because it's...
Here's Bob's... All right, here's the link to Bob Welch's video. I guess that's what they were asking for. All right. All right, so last question. T-Dog says, how much of advantage of the live do you need to participate in all of them each week? Okay, you don't have to participate in all of them, but they are a huge advantage.
Huge.
The ability to interact live cannot be. It can't. There's no comparison.
No.
We offer the non-live version specifically to address those who may have a price concern, or who may have a time concern. They have a full-time job that they absolutely know they cannot make any of the classes, or they live in a time zone where they absolutely know they will never make any of the classes, and they know that, and they're not going to attempt because they're working full-time and they're living in Australia and they're taking care of their mother, and they just know they can't do it because it's a whole other world for them. But if you've got the ability to enroll and only can attend even one class every 2 weeks,
still worth
it. It's super valuable.
Huge advantage, let alone if you're able to attend 3 or 4 every 2 weeks or 3 or 4 a month. I mean, and if you're only able to attend 30 minutes of the class and then watch the recording, I mean, that just inherent by its nature of being able to interact, just there's nothing that can compare to it. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to sell a higher price ticket. It's just
truth and fact.
It's like
imagine being
I have the opportunity to watch a John Chambers interview on TV, or sit in a forum of a Q&A forum live with John Chambers.
Right. Exactly. Imagine being in a room with like a cloud architect actually interviewing and getting information from a real business owner. How valuable would that be to be able to watch? Actually, it's almost like shadowing how senior cloud architects,
it is.
you're in a position. and you're going to get that real world experience. And I think that if you ask anyone in the thread who's actually participated in the live classes, how valuable was that, and how valuable, and even Bob, and I hate putting you on blast, Bob, but how, you know, if Bob could share, if you have an opportunity to converse with him on LinkedIn, how valuable those live classes were and how applicable they were in his role right now, backtracking in the hiring process, and how you're able to get those golden nuggets from the live classes and apply them to his real world situation.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's, let's see here. So,
there's a couple more, I think.
There's a couple. Where did it go? Okay, so James says he wants hands-on. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. The initial way when we hear hands-on is tinkering and configuring and teching. That's not it. Now, if you're talking about hands-on with being able to design things, which I've had a couple of people express that to me, saying I meant that's what I meant. If that's what you mean, that you need hands-on with the designing, then yes, that's what we do every week, every day of the year. Well, not every day of the year, but 2/3 of our classes is about hands-on designing. Now, if you're talking about hands-on configuring, no.
There's nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that.
That's not what cloud architects do.
So I just wanted to address that, because I have had a couple of people have expressed that that's what they meant when they say hands-on, is that they are talking about the actual designing,
and it has nothing to do with hands-on. Attend our webinar tomorrow. But here's the thing: a cloud architect designs, presents, and sells a solution to improve a customer's business and performance. We don't touch the tech. We don't configure the tech. So when you learn, like the Azure Solutions Architect Expert, they don't teach you design. They don't teach you business. They don't teach you sales. So if you attend tomorrow, we'll tell you exactly what we do and why we interviewed 1,000 AWS and Azure certified people before we started this company, and not a single one were employable, and why we retrain them after that and get people hired every day of the week, and the skills you need to learn with us or on your own.
All right. So I did see a question about how long you have access to the live classes. So you do have access to the live classes for up to a year. You have access to the content and the recordings for forever, but access to the live classes is for 1 year. So, all right. So let's wrap up. I want to remind everybody about our Black Friday discount, 35% off on any of our programs and on our payment plans. Make sure to use code Black Friday. And also make sure to register to attend tomorrow's webinar. Normally held on Thursday, but this week we'll be holding it tomorrow on Tuesday. If you want to learn a little bit more about how we do our training and our programs, and how we can help you reach your goals. So make sure to do both of those. And look forward to seeing everybody tonight for our Head in the Clouds show with Mr. Turkey.
Ted.
Mr. Ted.
Ted.
So the Black Friday discount is good through Friday. To answer that question that just came in. So hope everybody has a great day. See you all this evening. And Mike or Alonzo, you want to say any last words?
Go ahead, Mike. Well, actually, you know what? Never mind. You say nothing. As always, we're thankful that you all were able to attend with us. We would love for you all to be our student at Go Cloud Careers. We can definitely help you become the best cloud architect you could ever possibly imagine. Join us this evening for Head in the Clouds. We'd love to have you. If you're new to the set, we normally have it on Tuesdays, but as this is a Thanksgiving week, we moved it up a little bit. So hope to join us. And if you all have any more questions, please attend at our next Q&A session, and we'll answer them accordingly.
And I'm going to put the link for tonight. So set a reminder.
I didn't plan tonight's show. These guys did. And when they did, it's usually something real fun. So join us tonight.
Yeah. All right. There you go. All right, everybody. Have a good day. See you tonight.
Have a good one, everyone.